My name is Kimray Zani. I'm from Hopi, the village of Tewa Tobacco Clan. So I really don't, when I kind of talk to people, I don't like to say, oh, I do this, or I'm the director of whatever. I kind of try to keep it really casual, but I think more than anything, I usually start by saying, like, I'm a mom, I'm a daughter, I'm a granddaughter, um, grew up on the res, went off to college, and all the other Hopi women I talk to, the Tewa women I talk to, when we say, okay, college was the easy part, now we got to come back and learn all of this. And when they talk about being a Native woman, they say that process, you don't learn it all right away, that there's just so much knowledge and there's so much skills that you have to learn that it takes a lifetime to get there. It takes a lifetime to understand truly where you come from and who your people are, and even the language, like understanding that, learning that, that's a long process too. And so I kind of have a little note thing so I don't go off on a tangent, but I wanted to share a quote by Sarah Deer, The Beginning and End of Violence, or The Beginning and End of Rape. So she says, rape is more of a fundamental threat to self-determination of tribal nations than the drawbacks federal reform could ever be. Rape and child sexual abuse are directly related to most of the social challenges tribal nations face. And when people are hurting, they cannot effectively govern themselves or provide guidance and support for children in the community. And I love her book. It's just so real and it's very encouraging, it's motivating. But when we think about our children and we think about the women who share these stories, our grandmothers, and not only are they a true source of strength and knowledge, but we look at our kids, our men, our women, and we think maybe that person who is most often labeled as that drug user, that the alcoholic in their community, we know somewhere that they're feeling pain, that they have experienced something or gone through something that causes them to self-medicate most of the time. But what if that bad thing, what if that horrible experience, that trauma, what if they did not experience that? What kind of opportunities could they have had? What kind of leader would they have been? What kind of cultural influence or teaching may they have passed on? All of those missed opportunities, and I look at those people, and I hear my family, my people in the community talk about them, and they say, oh yeah, back then they were this kind of person. We saw them definitely walking this path to be maybe a leader, but unfortunately they didn't head in that direction. So I think her quote talks about also what is it to be healthy? What is it to be safe? What is it to be healed? And what is it to heal or to be healing on that path? And one of those, especially when we speak of sexual violence, of sexual assault, Sarah also says from that same book, ignoring sexual violence may sidestep painful realities, but silence is also one of the most insidious weapons invoked by rapists. Survivors experience tremendous shame and guilt, which is compounded by the secrets they must keep to survive. So when I think of silence, I think of survivors who are wanting to who are told to keep quiet, who are shamed, who are retaliated against. I also think about culture. What is it that perpetrators are using? They're using culture, they're using community and they're abusing it to keep our survivors quiet, to keep them feeling shamed. And more importantly, that gets expanded into our communities, because not only are our perpetrators doing that, but their families are. And the thing that I always keep coming back to is about what we call the work is being intentional. How can we indigenize trust? How can we reteach or even bring into awareness the proper way of culturally, instead of backing that person who hurts, but instead backing the person who needs to heal? And I especially listen to women and men who've been in this work for a long time saying we need to go back. And I know we need the money to put on awesome events like this, like VAWAs, because especially here we engage in conversation, we engage in challenges, but more importantly, we really look towards solutions that can be culturally specific to our communities. And more than anything, just like how when I talk about indigenized trust, the same way it can almost be parallel with especially our youth talking about what is Native love. And a lot of our older generations, they may not say I love you. The way they show love is they literally show it. Because when we say you can trust me, you can talk to me, that is entirely different than actually showing our survivors and our victims and our communities that they can trust us. And instead of saying, I love you, but it's showing that, bringing that food to that family who is doing a ceremony. That's how we show love. Or when our uncles come in, we don't even ask them, are you hungry? We don't even ask them, come in. We automatically sit them down. Oh, sit down. Here, I'm going to feed you. We don't even ask them if they're hungry. We just automatically feed them. So the same thing, earning that trust. Because I've been hearing a lot from other service providers who are having challenges of getting people to attend, getting people to show up. But what if we start at Saya's house, at Grandma's house, and we just get all the old women together, our elders, and just talk, or finding those gatekeepers in the community who will bring people, who will get them to understand this is important. And more importantly, we need to do it together because we're Native people. We do everything together. So along with that, I try to, one of the things that I really try to talk about when we talk about lateral violence, people, especially Native people, not wanting others to heal or not wanting others to be silent. And a quote by Stephen, is it Biko, is the most potent weapon of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. So we gotta get people to understand you hurt others because of this. We pull people down back into the dark because that's what we learned. All we learned was to hurt one another. And when colonization is only that, it's about hurting, it's about oppressing, pulling you down so low that you have no other way except the way that they're showing you. So that's another thing that I try to remind people about when they're facing those challenges, especially in Native communities, when they say we want well, I don't want to work with them because they're like this. But then we have to understand we can't move forward without moving forward together. And so I guess I kind of want to end on just saying that when we think about this work, we think about not only just how violence affects women, but also on all facets. The way we look at our earth, the way we treat our earth, especially if a lot of Native communities parallel it to a woman. If we treat our environment like this, and it's just the environment, how are we going to treat our women that's standing right next to us? So making those parallels a lot, and also always tying it back with sovereignty. So I know Chief Dan George, there's a quote, I just blew it up and I have it as a huge poster in front of my computer, but it says, a child does not question the wrongs of grown-ups, he suffers them. So I know a lot of the times I hear every session we're doing this for our kids, especially for moms, or we're aunties, or we're grandmas. We do it for them. And we do it for them. We do it for our grandmas and all those women who have those stories. So we do it for them. We do it for today, for people who are hurting, and we want to pull them along. And then we do it for tomorrow. We do it for our babies. We do it for our babies' babies. And more importantly, I think about how our culture, our language, we already have those answers to how we can solve these problems. Whether if it's health, diabetes, how we treat our earth, how we treat our women, how we treat our elders, we already have all of that. We have all of that in here. And in our, a woman just came to me and she spoke to me and she was just like, she's like, you're a very smart person. And I just said, well, thank my grandma. Thank my mom, because a lot of the knowledge that I've received, a lot of the strength that I received is not only from all the good things that they've experienced, but also the bad. I mean, we talk about resiliency. We talk about how not only having that strength to change and to be stronger and move our people and that together in that forward motion and to heal, but also we're resilient in a way where we're innovative, we're creative. Our people, they talk about time immemorial. We aren't still here because we stuck with one way. We're here because we had to change to survive to get to where we're at today. And yes, it's important that we stay rooted and we keep those things that make us who we are as Native people, as whatever tribe everybody comes from. But more importantly, we have to also remember that in order to survive, we have to come up with new ways of staying. We have to come up with creative ways of pushing us forward. So I just want to say thank you for allowing me to speak here. I want to say thank you for all the women who came in here, who are speaking and telling their stories, and it's awesome. I mean, I'm inspired, and but more importantly, I might not be here to see all the women who speak afterwards, and I just want to say, even though I've been in all these sessions, I hear a lot of women talk about how all the great things that they're doing for Native people. But also, I feel that our role here as Native people, that we need to stay strong and positive and keep all our culture and our language alive, not just for us, but one of these days, I'm kind of one of those people who likes those zombie or the end of the world type stuff. I like the scary books where the whole world's gonna die or it's all like in chaos. But I think about it in terms of my culture and where I'm from, that people are gonna need our knowledge in order to be strong, because there's a lot of people out there who don't know where they're from, who don't have a deeply rooted understanding of morality and survival, right? We all have that grandma who can make some kind of anything from scratch, right? And especially, I look at my grandma, like people freak out because she makes bread in the bread oven. They're like, wow, you guys are prepared for the end of the world. So it's interesting, but not just that knowledge of knowing how to survive, but definitely that knowledge of knowing and remembering what it is to be good in here, and just mind, body, heart, and soul and spirit. So thank you, ladies, and I appreciate all the work you're doing. You guys are awesome. Okay. Nah.